Oh, cool.
All right, brothers. We are live. What's going on, fellas? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy
Happy
New Year.
2021. Happy New Year to everybody watching. So glad
Yes.
that you decided to spend your evening with us on this first broadcast of 2021.
Yes.
Amen. Yeah.
So,
21.
2021. So, how'd you guys bring in the new year? What'd you do, Jake?
Man, I actually had an awesome time. I was well, let me try to put it consecutively.
Mm-hmm.
We I was watching YouTube videos, but church videos because we couldn't go
Okay.
to service or whatever. And man, I don't know if you guys know this or have seen this lady, Linda Gibson, or she's Linda
Never heard
Johnson
of
now,
No.
but she's a Caucasian lady and she's from Pentecostal Holiness Church denomination. And man, she sings with fire and brings the spirit in. And I found her video and we went in right here in front
In
of
the
our
house.
TV. Yeah.
Wow. That's what's
and
up.
and then we brought as it wound down to the new year, we toasted and all that, and then we watched movies and just had a good time right here at home. So
That's
brought it
good.
in
Okay.
prayer and all that. So it was
Yeah.
good.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Really
that's kind
enjoyed
of what we did. We
it.
we did virtual church service, New Year's Eve
Yeah,
service,
yeah,
and then after the service was over at 12 midnight, they went from Facebook to Zoom for people who had any specific
oh
prayer
yeah.
requests for deliverance or anything like that. They
Hmm.
spent a half an hour praying for folks, and then that was it.
Deliverance already going to 2021.
That's right, man. Starting
That's
out
what's
quick.
up.
And so, yeah, it was just me and the wife in the house.
Okay.
It's
Really?
kind of strange, man, because you normally you got the kids.
Yeah. How'd that happen, man?
I'm so used
Right.
to having children around. It's like they all up age, man. Carolyn 19.
She was out hanging.
Man.
She went to Taylor's house.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
They brought it in New Year together,
Yeah,
and
they didn't want to be bored. They didn't want to be bored with the old fogies, huh?
With
That's
the
all.
old folks.
right. My
Right.
other two, Carolyn and Josh Cara and Josh went out with friends. Nate is down in Ohio, so
Yeah.
he was just hanging out with his family, and
Okay.
so it was just me and Michelle, man. We brought in New Year together and watched the
That was
movies
nice.
afterwards and had our little
I'm
toast and
sure.
everything. It was
Yeah.
nice, different but nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got no complaints. What did you do, brother man? Big Ray,
Well,
Ray
I'll
Mac.
I'll share this.
It's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be interesting
Right.
because a lot of people probably gonna look at me twisted because of what I'm about to say. I ate some pizza.
Oh,
Right.
you don't eat pizza,
I
bro.
don't eat pizza. I'm
Oh
50
man.
years old. I don't do pizza. I didn't do pizza. So yeah, I ate pizza.
But boy, not for the
I
first
know
time.
this
Look,
crazy. It's
I'm
crazy.
waiting for the big reveal. I ate pizza.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean that's huge. That's huge.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, because
For Ray,
So
that
is
is
that
huge.
like your toast? That's your toast to bring in the new year? Eat a piece of pizza?
yeah, and a lot of people have been. That's been a big deal. Them trying to, who's going to be the first one to get me to eat pizza and all that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah.
What caused it? What actually made you break down and
Yeah,
and
that's
do
my
that?
question. Because you never mess with pizza ever.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll put that to another show.
Okay, give us some content for later. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
take it.
content to later.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
man.
I
Okay,
want
well,
to respect all parties. So
okay. So
yeah.
did you have pork on it?
No.
Was it just
So
cheese?
it was chicken. It was
Okay.
Alfredo sauce. It was
Should have
green
known.
peppers. It was mozzarella cheese and
Okay.
a little Parmesan
That
Okay,
sounds like a good
and
one.
some mushrooms.
that sounds good.
Yeah, man, it
Yeah.
was good.
So I can't
To
wait
be
for
the first
the
one.
rest. I know for the first slice. Yeah, I can't wait
Yeah.
for the whole story. That's gonna be
Yeah,
kind of cool,
yeah.
interesting to see what that that pizza story leads to.
Yeah.
So guys, we took the holiday off, and so we can enjoy our families and everything like that. But now we're back at it. New year, new direction, new intensity, new drive, new determination, new mind.
Right.
What are you guys looking forward to in 2021? I'll let whoever want to go first go first.
Go ahead, Jake.
Go ahead, me. Man, I'm just looking forward to relief and from all the chaos of 2020, relaxation and in the mind and the heart, and to rest and have a peace of mind about the COVID situation for one, but and definitely seeking God more and getting closer. That's an ongoing thing anyway. But more blessings as far as the household, the family, just to be more like one with God and purposely directional, going in where He wants us to go and what He wants us to do.
Yeah.
In the world, in the state that it's in right now, seeking and saving the lost, mainly.
That's it, man. That's a lofty goal. That's something to look forward to. That's something to look forward to. What about you, Big Ray?
I mean, just really be conscious of being in the peace of God, man. I said, for Christmas, as we start off our Christmas, we always start with some type of story, prayer, or some type of encouragement. Me and the children, me and my grown babies. Yeah. And one of the things I said to them was, guys, don't buy into the hype of a new calendar year going ahead by one and thinking everything is going to change and out with the horrible 2020 and in with the new 2021.
Right.
That's not, the new year is not going to bring us, anything different than what the last year brought if you're not really tapped into where God wants you to be. Or in the midst of, because it's, chaos can still happen and you still be rolling with God. But here's the thing. Can you still find peace in the midst of the chaos that's all around you? Can you still be able to accept the peace that only Jesus can give, that He said that the world can't give you? A peace that really passes all understanding. So that's just kind of where I want to be. I've been off for a while now, and real talk, I'm dreading going back to work tomorrow. Not that I don't want to work that type guy, but my job just is a lot of chaos. So I am challenging myself now to be able to maneuver with the peace of God through all the chaos until a change comes.
That's good.
That's good, man. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Knowing where that peace comes from. That's
exactly. Because it's nothing else I can do. Nothing else I can do.
Yeah, that's powerful, man.
Yeah.
I'm just you got that spinning in my head. For me, I'm just looking to a couple things. One is I want to see God moving in the lives of my children, and them assuming a position of allowing God to do that, just that. And so my focus is just to be very intentional in my prayer life for them, believing them to take the place that they know they should be in. And you know how it is when we're young, we've been there, done that. But I think for us, we had a mind and an awareness of just how important a walk with God was. Even as young guys, we had that. And we made a decision early. That's what we wanted to do. And so it's a little different with and don't get offended, people, but I think it's a little different with this generation of children after us. It's a little different for them to have that same kind of commitment. And so that's my prayer focus this year is just that they will get that revelation and get that commitment for themselves, because I can't do it for them. Mom can't do it for them. That's something they got. That's something they got to decide on their own to pursue.
That's right.
And the other thing is just to be in position. Now, I don't know if everybody here is a sports guy. I don't know. I know Jake's likes sports sometimes, and sometimes he don't like sports. But I got a sports analogy when I say be in position. I remember a few years ago when MSU, Michigan State University, was in the big bowl, football bowl, for the year, and they lost partly because the offensive linemen were out of position when the defense was rushing, trying to get to the QB. And I remember they got to the QB a few times because some of the offensive linemen were not where they were supposed to be.
Okay.
And so when I say get in position, I want to be in position so that when the play comes my way,
right,
that I'm ready to perform and do what I'm supposed to do.
That's real good.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be in. I don't want to be in the game, but not in the game to where I can be effective. And the only way I can be effective is if I know my role, know my place, and know my position, and I play that to perfection. So I'm gonna be in God's face a lot in 2021, trying to get to that place.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking forward to in 2021, man. Just more of God to show Himself strong in our families. I think He has been with us all through 2020. A lot of favor on our families, and so I'm sure that we're going to see more of that in 2021. All right, guys, we got a barn burner again. We started off 2021 right out the box. So came to our attention through conversation that among Christian and married men, there may be what we call the code or a code. And what is the code?
The man code.
The man code, the Christian man code. And it sounds to me like the code is being undercover and pursuing carnal exploits, if I could say it like that.
Good way to put it.
Going to the strip clubs without your wife's knowledge. Talking to other women without your wife's knowledge. Taking pictures and sharing them with this woman on a phone that your wife don't know you have. And other stuff. But at the same time, in full exposed view where everybody can see you, you are claiming this strong level of Christian manhood, Christianity rather. You're claiming to be this great dad, great husband, all this stuff. But undercover with your crew, you and your crew are partaking in these activities that if anybody knew what you were doing, they would immediately question your Christianity.
Gotcha.
So I want to know, Christian men living by the code, can they have a code? Is it okay? Does God look at it and say, my grace shall cover you? It's okay for you to have these carnal exploits in secret.
Well, let me say this. I want to say two things first. Number one, before all the guys immediately just kind of shut down our channel. Just being fair, because it's real talk. There's a woman's or ladies' code as well.
Okay.
But we're just not speaking on that because we're not women or whatever.
Right. I think anything that we say here applies to women as well.
It does.
Because they have their own codes, like you say.
Yeah. And as far as the code is concerned, I do know that that out there in the world, the code is you cover for me. If I'm married, or if I'm in a serious relationship, and I go out with somebody else that I'm not involved with, and she suspects that I'm cheating on her, and she calls up you, Jake, or you, Nate, and tries to vouch or verify that we were together, according to the world, outside of the Christian stuff we're talking about tonight, but the Christian, sometimes the believers are trying to still be like the world, keep that one foot in the world. And that's the one thing they'll try to hold on to is that code. So Nate, you're supposed to be able to pick up on the fact that if I call you up and say, "Hey, Nate, what's hanging, bro? What's hanging?" I'm approaching you kind of differently, so you should know, okay, something's up. I gotta listen so I can cover for him. So that's how the world does. That you lie till you die. I got your back. So with the believers still trying to do that, it is kind of disappointing that you would want to hold on to that rather than me just be blatant and come to you guys and say, look, I'm not happy in my situation. And we just have a real talk.
Right. Yeah.
And I know, a lot of people don't want to have a real talk with other believers because the first thing you want to do is you want to pray.
Yeah.
And you may be, or I may be so far gone that I don't want to deal with you praying, because that's not going to, I still got to go home. It's not going to change how I feel about home. But the thing that saddens me is that you got a lot of brothers that are not praying or holding their brother accountable. They're actually supporting that,
that
code.
Yeah, they're supporting the code. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if you challenge these guys on that behavior, I think sometimes the response you get is, how dare you question my Christianity?
Yeah.
How dare you say I'm not a Christian? God knows my heart. He knows I'm a human. I'm not perfect. But how you going to say I don't have a relationship with my Lord and Savior? And it's like they literally believe that what they're doing has no bearing on their relationship with God. Anybody got to respond to that.
It's true. That I don't know when it became that or how long it's even been like that. But I know most of the men that I grew up around that were married, they were faithful in my church that I grew up in. And the majority of the men in my family, but at seeing that and then seeing the rarity of the few men that weren't faithful to their wives, I don't know if it's a personal thing. I just seem like I knew enough to say, when I get married, I don't want to do that to my wife.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But as I'm becoming an adult, seeing the hurt that it causes. And then I knew a guy who his friend was married. Now, this wasn't a mutual friend, but his friend's wife was sick. So I don't know if they were, having relations normally as they would had she not been sick. So our mutual friend allowed him to use his house for the other friend to have a relation or to meet up with another young lady who wasn't his wife. And I was like, oh no, I was so tore up with him for that. I said, how could you do that? Yeah, I was like, that's not cool at all.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's crazy that
it's crazy because they think it's okay.
That's the code. I'm like, no, if anything,
right. That's the code.
You would help your boy. You'd be like, no, man, your wife's sick. You shouldn't be doing this or whatever. But you don't enable it or encourage it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Wow, that's next level. That's the next level with the code.
Definitely is.
Man. And I'm trying to walk gingerly as possible here.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this for disclaimer. And this is just not to say this because you guys are sitting in front of me, but you guys, and a couple other of my closest buddies, I'm glad that this is not an issue that I've had to deal with you guys.
Right. Right.
Every guy that I know in my circle, and I'm talking, I guess I'm talking my college bros. This is like we got our own fraternity thing because we've been together for so long that you guys love your wives. But I have had conversations with people and years. I mean, we're talking early 2000s, that are believers, and they tried to challenge that very thing that you just talked about, Jake, where the spouse may not be able to providing type of fulfillment in that area, and they've said you need to stay in your lane because needs don't go away. So what is a person supposed to do? And here's the thing: as I sit here today, and that was probably said many years ago. That's a true statement. Needs don't go away.
Right.
So what do you say to a person when they flip it like that on you? And you know that they love God.
Right.
Well, and I'm hardcore, so you guys know how I get sometimes.
Old Testament coming out, man.
Yeah, that's right.
I would say, here's New Testament. Jesus told his disciples, if you love me, but if you love me, you'll keep my commandments, so you'll do what I ask you to do. So I don't believe a person can say, I love God and willfully disobey what he's told you to do.
True.
Because according to scripture, the two can't coexist. It's either one, you love God.
Love God, yes.
Or two, or you keep his commandments, or two, you don't keep his commandments, which means you don't love God. It's just a simple logical argument. If you take logic in college, you get that argument structure. It's a statement, if then there's your answer. It's like, am I wrong, guys, for saying, and it's a tough thing to tell somebody, oh, no, you don't love God. You're not doing what he said, because I could turn the finger right back around on me and point out a whole bunch of things I'm not doing.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that.
So it's like, just keeping it real, though. I mean, can you really willfully? I'm talking about willfully. The code requires that you keep secrets on purpose and ask people to sign off and validate those immoral activities so that you can keep your cover from your household, your levels in your household, so they never find out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's willful. It's not like it's like I slipped on the ice and fell into it. It's like I saw the house, I knew it was there. I went to go visit, open the door, brought a bag to stay overnight. It's like, I'm doing this on purpose.
Right. It's blatantly
Can they get
wrong.
a pass? Can they get a pass? I mean, can you give them a pass? Anybody can answer. I mean, that's my thought.
No,
they don't get a pass.
You don't get a pass. You don't get a pass, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm justifying, because I'm not. It's not cool, period, at all. But you got some people that will sit up and say, I'm trying, I'm a work in progress. That's where grace comes in. You got some that will argue that, bros. I'm just throwing that out there. And grace is very real. And I always say, because you're doing damage. The more you're doing this, I don't see how it's going to bridge the gap between you and the one that you say you love. That's supposed to be the closest one to you. But here's the thing: you have until Jesus cracks the sky to get it right. But the thing about it is, you don't know when he's coming back. You can't play with the time thinking you got time.
True. And neither do you know when you're gonna check out of here either.
Bam,
Why you playing?
Why you playing?
Exactly.
I think it's dangerous activity. I really do.
Yeah.
Because and I say this to my family whenever we talk about character. It's like when you explicitly put yourself in the hands or in the territory of your enemy,
Mm-hmm.
And you go in unprotected. You weren't sent in, you snuck in. Okay, so you weren't sent by your commanders and given all the tools and armor and weapons and everything you needed to be in that enemy territory. You just said, I want to go check out what's over there, and just went. And now you're dead smack in his territory without any protection, and he can do literally anything he wants to you. That is a danger inherent in, pursuing these types of activities, because you're putting yourself in the hands of your enemy willingly, on purpose. It's like you're letting him know that I would like to be manipulated by you. I would like to be controlled by you. And even I will take the consequences of injury or death just so that I can enjoy these few moments of fleeting pleasure.
Okay.
It's dangerous because, like you said, Jake, you don't ever check out of here. You mess with somebody's girl and her husband find out, or her boyfriend find out. These days, you liable to get shot. Yeah, everybody gets
right
shot.
There.
Right there, everybody gets shot. Not just you, everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's dangerous. It's dangerous, and I don't think the people the kind of people we're talking about, I don't think they see. I think I'm gonna call it sin. I think the sin clouds their vision. Yeah, it clouds their vision, so they can't see reasonably what the heck is going on, really.
Yeah, but here's the thing with that, Nate, and that's good you said that.
Mm-hmm.
It is very difficult for me to be able to see what it's doing to me when I have you and Jake co-signing for me.
Exactly.
And that's why I say we could, there have been situations that I know of where you have, and I know people are going to challenge, us as we're talking about this, where you have people who say they're believers, and they feel like, well, I got my own crew that I can go to and bounce this information off of, and they understand what I'm going through at home, and they support it. So we have our own little group that we meet with and we talk amongst each other. So yeah, it is very hard for a person to see when you got an outsider that steps up and says, "Man, that ain't cool."
Mm-hmm.
And then the response is, "It's just a guy thing to do."
But that's like a man's ways are right in his own eyes, of course.
That's
good. But there's integrity. What you're doing when nobody's watching.
Exactly.
That's the whole gist of it, And then your homeboy looking out for you, which is really not looking out for you. He's a lookout man, but he's not looking out for you.
Yeah, that's good. He's not really looking out for you. If he was, he would call you to the carpet.
But when you're all in the same situation, I mean, who is going to be that? It can happen, but who's going to be that strong person to step up out of the three of us? If it were us, who would be that strong person to step up and say, dudes, this ain't right? I mean, it's kind of hard when we're all just kind of misery loving company together.
Yeah. I guess it would take an outside force at that point, but you run the risk. You run a high risk of losing the friendship altogether, or either he's gonna hear you or he won't.
Yeah, you said something, Jake. You said it's all about character. So I'm kind of going to piggyback off a conversation I had with my nephew last night. So if he's listening, I'm gonna try to sum it up as easy as possible, but I can segue that conversation to what we're talking about. As we talk about character and male and the code for men. So the question came up about Bill Cosby.
Okay.
Now Cosby, to me, I knew that there was some struggles. I knew he came from Philly, and I'm sure he saw, rough times growing up. But Cosby painted an image to us that you can raise yourself up out of a hard situation and make something of yourself, have dreams, have goals. And that's the thing that I latched onto, and I ran with that for my own self. Okay. And then you have another comedian, whereas your Eddie Murphys or your Richard Pryors of the world, they were just blatant and out there with the profanity, with the promiscuity with women, but people always kind of thought Bill Cosby was better than them because of how he carried himself. So the question that we talked about yesterday was, so would you rather have a person camouflage what they're doing in secret, aka Bill Cosby?
Yeah, yeah.
Or would you rather them be blatant and out front with it, like your Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy? Because we're talking about character.
Right.
Dang.
Right.
I'd say then I would rather have the all out blatant behavior, because then you actually know what that person is all about. Because you're not being deceived. What Bill said was true and had merit, but because of what he's doing with allegedly doing with these actresses behind the scene, kind of destroys that whole message. Because now, and I think the big thing with Bill in our community was that we have put him on such a pedestal.
Exactly.
That kind of behavior that he would, to the extent that they said he did it, just kind of broke that altar down, and he came off that pedestal, and it hurt us. Because if you can't depend on Bill.
Right. America's father.
I mean, come on. We all love the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
And I will always love the Cosby Show.
Yes.
And mostly because of Bill Cosby and the kind of roles he put before us, the representation he put before us, and the message. But it gets lost because of these allegations and all this stuff. I would rather know than not know.
But here's the thing: the message you said gets lost, or it's hard to receive. But the message that he was given is still a good message.
So
there.
It's still there. The message is not diluted or tainted. It's just a deliverer. So I guess I'm going back to the thing of character. So Bill probably felt like, I got something very important to share. I want to see our people do better. But I got my issues going on over here, but I can't let them know about this because they're not going to receive it. So you fast forward to what we're talking about tonight, the man code. It's better for me as a believer to just fake it and just have my crew of guys that I can share it with, because I'm still going to preach and I know. I'm still going to pump God. I'm still going to pump God because that is a very relevant, needed message. But I got my struggle over here. So I just go to my safe place to let
it's
loose.
Like the thin line to cross of hypocrisy. Because I mean, in that point, because I made a Facebook post a couple weeks ago about this very thing, where the old school says strive for perfection and the new school says embrace your flaws. So most of the old school people may have been striving for perfection, but they were covering up their imperfections. So they appeared to be perfect. And but then how do you relate that to the new school, where they say, oh, just embrace your flaws, don't worry about being imperfect,
live you, be,
do you,
do you,
be you and do you,
right?
YOLO.
keep it 100.
Keep it 100.
Which you should anyway.
100. Yo, man, that's tough for me.
Yeah.
Because I look at things like this. What you said, Ray, even though I know you're trying to stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just stirring the pot.
What you said actually has some substance to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the message on one hand is valid. It's true.
Yeah.
And our struggles are our struggles. Should our struggles then invalidate the message? So I got two references. I don't have the scriptures, but maybe Ray, since he knows the Bible by heart, can tell us what the scriptures are. So one story is where Paul and his crew were preaching, and there was somebody else that was preaching the name of the Lord, the message of the gospel, but they were obviously doing it for money, if I'm not mistaken how the story goes. or they were doing it, and Paul's crew was like, they're preaching Jesus, but they're not of the way. They're not of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul was like, the message is still preached. Christ is still preached.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. Christ is still preached, even though they're wrong in the kind of person they are. And so they're still preaching Christ, and Christ is still preached. That's one point.
Yeah.
And the other point is where dang it, I lost my thought. But anyway, what do you think about that point? Is that yeah, the message is still preached. So
Oh man,
don't worry about the person and the character. The message is still preached.
It's tough because today we have the situation with what the gospel singer Daryl Walls is going through.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
You know the Walls group. He's the oldest brother.
Okay.
And
I know the Walls group. Okay.
Yeah. So he's going through this situation where it's a video out where he's kissing his male friend, but he's anointed as a singer. The gospel industry of today has embraced him in this time of controversy, and yet he's rolling right along like none of that has even occurred. So
his message is pure, but the deliverer of the message is quite flawed.
Exactly. So what? That's like you said. What do you do?
So does that excuse the code?
That's the question.
I remember my other point now. I remember my other point, and I'm still in the New Testament, Ray. I remember my other point is that didn't I prophesy in your name?
Oh.
Didn't I, heal the sick in your name? Whatever. Didn't I do all these things in your name? And then God says to that individual, depart from me. I never knew you. So, yep, you healed, you prophesied, you preached. Christ was preached. The message was given. But at the end of the day, you, the person, I don't even know who you are. So depart from me.
Okay.
So I think there's more. I think it's more important that the messenger and the message have to be congruent. They must line up.
Yeah.
In order to honor God.
Right.
So I'm gonna disagree with Paul. I said.
But
I said what I said. I said what I said.
Wait.
Man. Okay, let me say this. Let me throw in this as I sit back here and thought. First of all, I'm gonna say, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. That's Romans. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, all of us are flawed individuals.
Right.
But yet and still, many of us may minister the word to our co-workers at work. Not even to minister the word. You get the water cooler and you use that moment to encourage them because of whatever they're going through. And it may be, lace, with some good sound word up in there.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? You have not lived a perfect day. Now, I understand. I'm not advocating you walk in your flawed practice lifestyle. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that we do have to debunk this notion that we are going to be perfected to walk upright and excellent while we're in this earth suit here. Again, I'm not saying go out and like Paul said, I'm not saying take grace for granted.
Right.
I'm not saying but yet the same token, we just kind of got to recognize that there is a war against spirit and flesh. Yeah. And it's going to be that until Jesus steps back in and we get our glorified bodies. So saying all that, that's being long-winded, but saying all that to say, the word being shared by a person that is living willy-nilly, God can use anybody.
Right.
Prove it in scripture. So the best example I can give is, let's just take, two of your children. And, I've said I'm going to take them to get ice cream or whatever, but you got to have a good day. And I love to call out my kid's name. Let's just say Liv was not, because I saw her on, so she was watching. Let's say Liv didn't do, she was having a rough day. She did everything that I told her not to do. And then I step in and I say, you know what? I'm not going to reward your bad behavior. And then I say, okay, y'all, I need you guys to clean the house so we can get ready to go get this ice cream. Andrew's had a pretty good day. Yeah, he's done some things kind of, wrong or off. But for the most part, he's had a pretty tight day. Liv has been, willy-nilly wilding. But she still joins in to clean that house.
Mm-hmm.
The house gets clean. When it's time to step out into the driveway and roll out in the car, I tell Liv, I told you I'm not rewarding your bad behavior, but I cleaned the house. Yes, you did. And I thank you for that. But I told you I wasn't rewarding your bad behavior. So I'm taking Andrew with me to get ice cream. But I did what I was supposed to do. In that area you did, but not in the other areas. So we're looking at the word aspect of somebody living crazy. Yeah, they can offer up a positive, strong word from the Lord.
Yeah.
But Nate, you gave a good scripture by saying, but I prophesied in your name. I did this, I did that. Okay, you did that, but you were just living a practice raggedy lifestyle. And when it was convenient, you tried to step up. And yeah, you delivered a sound word.
Yeah.
But I gotta sit back and say, I don't know you.
Right.
Because you shined when it was time to shine.
Yeah. Keyword practice.
Yeah, I like that. That's the insight we need to take away from it. Practice raggedy.
Yeah.
Practice intentional raggedy. Intentionally raggedy.
Yeah.
Intentional.
Yeah. And this just for the sake of Liv, my baby is great. I love her. So I just had to use an example.
Right.
They love Liv.
But the benefit still, you still reap the benefit of somebody putting the word out there. Yeah. But you're just choosing to publish a word that is true, that is not going to fall void.
Yeah.
But you just living raggedy. But the word is still true.
Word is still true. So I'm gonna recant my statement when I said I'm gonna disagree with Paul. I'm gonna recant that statement because I was thinking about it while you were talking. And in context, Paul was not talking to a Christian individual, a person who had accepted Christ and was supposed to be living the Christian lifestyle.
That's good.
That person that was preaching was outside the bounds of our conversation. So I'm gonna recant my statement. I'm still with my man Paul because of the context of Scripture. Anyway, here's another one. Consequence. Bible also teaches us that do not be deceived. God is not mocked. That what a man sows, he shall also reap. The kingdom of God is this: sowing and reaping, seed time and harvest. Listen to me, fellas. Those behaviors are sowing seeds.
Yeah.
That are what you sow is what you grow. And so even though they think they're getting away, that the code is protecting them and they're getting away with it, and on their Christian front man is giving the good message and encouraging people and shine the light on their Christianity.
Yeah.
That aside, that stuff that they're doing in secret is going to produce consequences at some point.
Yeah.
Now, we think some people get away with stuff and they die. We think they got away with it, but somewhere in their life, a harvest grew from what they did.
Yeah, and the harvest could simply be, Nate, that you're disgruntled and unhappy at home because you got this secret practice life going on. You saying they just won't change. She just won't get better. Okay, that's what you're reaping because of what you're doing in secret. You wondering why she won't change, Joker. She not changing because of your secret actions.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that's you're the benefactor of that.
Right.
That's good. Like I said, because you never know what the harvest is going to look like. So that could very well be their harvest.
Right.
Yeah.
And you think you're getting away with it, but now if you're married, you're one. And she or he can feel that inclination. Something is off.
Yeah.
Whether they know what it is or not, or whether the other admit it or not, you know something is off when you're one with that other, your married partner.
Well, shout out to Jay Will who gave me the scripture reference on what we were talking about, Matthew 13.
Oh, that was cool.
Thank you. So yeah, this subject is like deep. I mean, we could probably go on this subject for hours because I think there's so many avenues. There's so many avenues, but you really have to ask what is the bottom line in all this. You know, our Creator has the final say. So what does He think about men who practice a code? What does He think about it? That's really the ultimate question, and we'll find our answer to if it's okay or should they get a pass because they're just humans and they need grace and mercy just like everybody else.
No,
I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say you don't uphold your brother in wrong, and you don't, even though the Bible said it's gonna come a time where they'll do that and take pleasure in somebody else doing wrong, but that's not God's way. Excuse me. So I was just saying that's not the way we should do it. Like, I don't know if you remember in the movie Ray Charles' story when he was locked up in the room with Mary Ann and his wife called on the phone and his boy was like, man, I'm not gonna lie to B, you know. That was him looking out. That was true looking out right there.
Instead of covering up for him.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I think the bottom line, as you look for a bottom line too, Nate, I think what practicing the code displays is that you're directly going up against the covenant that God put in place. There's no way you can live up to the code or practice the code and still live the covenant that God designed for one union.
So I think that these guys that do this know they're wrong. And I'll give you two reasons why. Because if you would think you were doing something that was upfront, honest, integral, you would do it in front of your spouse and your children. You would also not need a burner phone to cover your tracks.
Exactly.
You would do it on your phone, right when your wife is sitting right next to you, while you doing whatever it is you do on your burner phone. You would do it in front of everybody else, because if it was no wrong in it, there would be no reason to try to hide it, to cover it up, to exercise deceit in order to keep your alternate lifestyle going. So I think these guys know it's wrong. And if you know a thing and you know to do right and you don't do it, we all know what God says about that. So I give understanding to people who are trying to do right and fall. Who are striving, intentionally striving to honor God with their life and their decisions, but they make mistakes along the way. I don't give honor to people who intentionally do things that hurt other people. Jesus said, "Woe unto you! If you hurt one of my children, it's worse for you. You should tie some bricks around your ankles and throw yourself in the river."
And what is that? What is that scripture where it says, "For this person there is no more grace"?
Oh,
you ever read that?
But I'm not sure where it's
at. I know.
Maybe Jay will know.
I'll have to look at it. Yeah, right.
But yeah, man, it's like, I'm just gonna put my stake in the ground. Is the behavior we're talking about has potential, if it gets exposed, to hurt a whole lot of people and make a whole lot of people stumble and cause a whole lot of pain. And that is something I don't think God would look favorably upon, grace or not. I think He's going to hold you responsible for putting that in the practice and then trying to make an excuse for it. It's like, and this is my last point. Adam and Eve in the garden. Eve ate the fruit. Adam got the fruit from her and ate. And God came looking. What happened? Where was you guys at? Who told you were naked? The thing I think that messed Adam up was he tried to make excuses for what he did. He didn't own it and said, you know what, we dropped the ball. We ate that fruit that we weren't supposed to eat. First, he blamed Eve. That woman you gave me, it's her fault. He never tried to own up to his behavior. And I think that's what cost him. I think if he had owned up to it or taken responsibility for it, the outcome could have been different. I don't know. Maybe it would have been different. But we know for sure that his willingness to make excuses and not own up to his responsibilities cost him. Yeah. And so we know to do the right thing, and we don't do it. We're not owning up, and we're not taking responsibility for our lives. It's going to cost us.
Yeah.
Oh, Jay will come through again.
Oh, he came through?
There you go, Jake.
That's cool. I appreciate you, Jay Will.
He got a question too, so I'll throw the question in before we wrap it up.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, you know, my thing I was going to say is just the end all be all when you find a group of believers struggling, you know, to uphold the code. I think at some point you kind of got to step back and look at the friendship circle that you have. Because honestly speaking, no one wants to give up the crew that they started with. But sometimes we start with our crew as little kids and we grow up and people start going different ways.
Right.
Maturity. You know, immaturity. And this is not to say that somebody did something wrong, but you know, everybody that we started off with at Central, we're not with everybody.
That's
right.
We, for whatever reason, people parted ways. It could just be because they just got busy with business. And that was more important. You know, but I think the friendships that model you're going where I'm going, those are the ones that kind of tend to stay close and can continue on. Because I respect the fact that you're both married men now and you have families and so that's important to me. I see that's important to you. So that's why there's really no friction because you know, we're not going to tolerate any kind of craziness because ideally, if I love you guys, I'm supposed to love your wives. At least to the point where I don't want to see you just messing over them. Because regardless, you know, I need to encourage you guys to hold you accountable to be who you say you are in God. Bottom line. And that encompasses, it should cover your dad, being a daddy, being a husband, being a leader, being a worker. Yeah, it should encompass it all.
That's right, man. And you guys brought up good points about the man actually being the head anyway of his household. But what Nate was saying about Adam and Eve, God cursed the man, the woman, and the serpent. So that whole effect, you know, it wasn't just him that it affected. It affected the entire household, but you know, everybody involved.
All the creation, yes.
Right.
Yeah, I think that you know, this topic, man, really got me thinking. I believe that you know, our response, as if we see a brother overtaken in the fault, you know, people who are spiritual need to go to that person in love and try to restore them. And so instead of, you know, heaping judgment on them, we try to gently convict towards correction.
Yeah.
If we see it and observe it, and if we love God and we're spiritual, we need to go to our brother or our sister and say, look, this is not the way. This is not the way. I don't think you sinner, you horrible person, look what you're doing, is going to correct that behavior.
No.
It's like, if that, you know, you go to that person in love and you try to steer them another way. You can't control what they do, but at least you've done the loving part that God requires. So when we see this kind of behavior, I think we have a responsibility to respond in that manner.
You got that question?
Riveting conversation, fellas. So I'm going to show this question from Jay Will.
Okay. And he also did a recant.
Yeah, I saw that. Hold up. It says instead of verse 12:6 from Romans, it's 11.
Yeah.
Chapter 11. Verse. He says, is it truly a need? And this goes back to our conversation where you were saying, Ray, a brother got needs. Is it truly a need or a very strong desire that has a person convinced that it's a need?
Ooh, is it truly a need or a very strong desire that has a person convinced it is a need? Wow.
The latter, because if a person can be celibate for years, that means it's not just a need. Maybe for some people it's different, but excuse me,
Okay.
it's proven that we can get along and live without it.
Yeah,
Nobody would want to. I mean, not many people want to.
Yeah, I was about to throw my controversy in there.
Right.
Why before I get married then? Why get married?
Right.
That's what some people think.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Right. But
Yeah,
yeah,
man,
it's possible.
It's possible. You know, I think, you know, I'm thinking of the psychological answer and the theological answer. The psychological answer says, you know, the hierarchy of needs says sex is right up there, one of the basic things you got to take care of before you can address anything else. Before you start moving on to the hierarchy and the higher levels, you got to eat. Those are the base needs according to psychology.
Yeah.
Theology says the opposite. You know, God tells you to deny the flesh, pick up your cross. He tells you walk by the Spirit, not by the flesh. So he tells you to oppose your basic, what you call needs, and choose the spiritually minded path. You dominate that stuff with your choices, your decisions, and that basic desire won't control you if you put the spiritual man first. That's completely opposite of psychology. So I think when a person is tempted, he's drawn away by his own lusts.
Yeah.
So I think it is the latter. It's a strong desire that could make people convinced that it's a need. And the desire for food, water, shelter, and physical intimacy is very strong. Very strong. But you know what? Gandhi did it.
Gandhi did it.
So it's possible if you make that choice. That's up to you.
But one thing you didn't say is what really causes this. Is it because something you're not putting in at home or something you're lacking at home with your wife?
Yeah, that's why I said it's a deep conversation, boy.
And man, this can go on and on because again, and this is not just. I mean, I've heard people hate to say it. I mean, because again, we got to get out of our mind by thinking, yes, character is important. It is, but we got to get, like you said earlier, Nate. We put Bill Cosby up here in an unhealthy place. We also have to get out of our mind that if you say that you're a believer and you serving God, that you can't have all, these crazy notions and thoughts or whatever that can kind of make you fall back sometimes. Because what I was gonna say was I'm hearing a lot of people say that you've been married a long time and they just don't do it for you no more. And that's not again, this is just what I'm hearing.
Killing me.
It's not put that down on me. Not raise disclaimer, right?
Right, that's yours.
Yeah. But this is what I'm hearing people say, that they just, they're letting themselves go. So they start looking, their hair start, swerving. Swerving. And this is what starts to, chip away at the integrity and that character. When you find another person who will co-sign your head swerving, or you compliment another person's, man, they look good in them yoga pants or whatever.
Yeah, but not.
I got my crew. Because Jake kind of he odd man out, so I don't have to talk to him about it. I'll say my good colorful conversations with Nate, And you got people like that, and that's where it goes back to again. Choose your friends wisely, and your friends are not carrying you to the place where you want to go. You gotta let them go.
It's time to
they
let them go.
Who you are.
You got to surround yourself with people that are going to push you to be your best, most excellent self.
Yep.
And I'm afraid that this crew that we're referring to, they don't care nothing about each other, because they're not trying to push any of the other person to go home and make the best marriage they can possibly make.
Right.
They're pushing these other guys to disrespect their wives, disrespect their marriage, and let's just have fun. And that crew needs to break up, and we need to find some real friends for these guys that are going to push them to be all God called them to be.
Yep.
That is my position.
Yep, that's
Mine
good.
too.
And I'm not perfect. We all fall, but every part of Scripture that we look at that talks about character puts the responsibility squarely in your hands.
Yeah.
You have to do these things. God's not going to do them for you, but you got to choose to do these things. You got to choose to have excellent character. You got to choose to walk by the Spirit. You got to choose to walk in love. You have to choose to do these things. And if you don't, well, then you have to be ready to face the consequences.
The consequences that will come. So if I can just kind of give a little last shout to Jay Will's question.
Yeah, that was a good question, Jay Will.
If that were me in that situation, Jay Will, I would like to say that I would have to put myself in the place of, Lord, I need you to keep me, to walk with me through this season, if it's a season, because no, everything is not based on physical, things in the marriage. Intimacy in a marriage is not always just physical.
Exactly.
So maybe I could use this season, but it would take some prayer. And this is where we got to get real and be honest with ourselves, and not just think that it's just going to happen osmosisly because I love my spouse, whatever. Yes, you love your spouse, but it could be a struggle. It could be a struggle because you still want fleshly what you want, and you don't want to turn to what's outside there that's being offered to you and being shown to you. So I would really have to that will come on me, get in prayer and be like, well, I need you to help me. I need you to help me learn how to fall in love with them and enjoy them in a different way that's not just physical intimacy.
Yeah.
That's good, Ray. That's good. So on that note, we are right about at an hour.
Yep.
So normally we go to the words of wisdom segment.
Right.
And we're right back at it.
All right.
Ray, Shake, who is going to give us our wisdom nugget, the first nugget for 2021?
Yeah.
You got it, Ray.
Okay. Well, you know what? This is because we're in 2021, and honestly, this is going to be a little bit more serious. It's not going to be kind of funny because we're talking about going to the next year, and people want to see change. And I was watching a movie over the Christmas break, and it was called the movie is called The Throwback Holiday. And this young lady had a chance to redo her life because she married the wrong dude, and the nerdy dude that she should have married, she got a chance to go back somehow and marry him. So here's the part that really stuck out to me. They were walking together, the nerdy dude and the young lady were walking together, and a homeless lady walked up to him and said, can you spare anything? And he reached in his pocket, and they're high school students. He reached in his pocket and he just dropped a bunch of change in her hand. And he's like, that's all I have. I wish I had more than just change, but that's all I have to give. And she looked at him and said, if there were no change, there could be no change.
Okay.
That was heavy.
Yeah.
That is heavy.
Yeah. So
that's very heavy.
Nothing silly tonight. I just sat on that and I was like, man, that rocked my mind.
No change, there could be no change.
Yeah.
Okay, let's marinate on that, guys, until next week. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Any final comments, Jake?
What they say, that'll hit you when you get home.
Yeah, right.
Or when you roll over at 2:00 in the morning,
right?
Hit you, knock you out the bed.
I get it now.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like that now. Stuff is going over my head now, boy. Like I gotta I get it on the way home. Way homers. I get it on the way home. Okay, guys. This has been, like I said, another hot burning topic. I appreciate your time. Looking forward to having more of these great conversations as 2021 goes along. Thank you for our people in the live audience who joined us and had comments and shared comments. We appreciate you. Please share this broadcast. If you're so inclined, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Like the content, share the content, let people know that we're on, and look for us also over on your favorite podcast outlet for more content from Knowledge and Power. So
and what do they want to hear? Conversation wise.
What do you want to hear? Let us know. Let us know what kind of topics that you're looking for.
Good idea.
We'll start. We'll put out some kind of feeler. We'll figure out a way to do that so we can get some input from the audience. But that's a good idea. Let's get some more participation in what you guys want to hear. We appreciate that. All right, fellas. As usual, I appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time, guys. Have a great blessed week. Ray, be strong and work tomorrow. Be strong and work tomorrow. All right, y'all.
All right.
Later.
Later.